What's the good word? Welcome to Cooperville residents. It is Cooper. Podcast is proudly brought to you by Midwest Meals. MidwestMeals.com. We're talking fully cooked, healthy meals starting at only $6.50. Tell you what, we're recording this on National Cheeseburger Day. I had an Angus burger with sweet potato fries from Midwest Meals last night. Freaking delicious. No waiting at the damn drive-thru either. Right into the microwave. 2.5 minutes. Done. But what is this really all about? Let's boil it down. Let's break it down for you like this. Why Midwest Meals? Midwest Meals exists to fight obesity. You know, there's a lot of crap going on in the news and the media. The government is all trying to fix things that they make into big problems. 7 people killed by vaping. So minuscule in comparison to the deaths from obesity. Get healthy. Do it the right way, Midwest Meals, and if you go to MidwestMeals.com and you place your order, when you check out, use the promo code Cooper, going to get you 10% off that initial order. It's MidwestMeals.com, hashtag MidwestFitFam. Welcome to Cooperville Podcast, also brought to you by Monster Energy. Went on a long-ass run on Monday, did 10 miles for the first time ever in my life. A year ago, I was not a runner. What I realized afterwards, need some refueling. Yes, sir. Monster Ultraviolet helped me get through the rest of my day because I have 2 mornings. One that starts at about 3:30 and one that starts at 7. The 3:31, that's my time. 7 o'clock, that's when the household gets rustled and we get going. Need to have that monster in my life. Podcast is also brought to you by Violent Gentleman Hockey Club. Hockey season just around the corner. Get your badass gear at violentgentleman.com. Going to be doing some cool giveaway stuff if you go to welcometocooperville.com and register for the newsletter. Freebies! So jacked for this episode of the podcast, Mr. Chapin Turner, also known as Chip, also known as Skotty Benz. Hip-hop artist, entrepreneur, business owner. He's got his hands in everything. One of the coolest things about this podcast is to talk about overcoming adversity, turning cants into cans, and getting on your path to leaving a legacy and success. The Skotty Benz episode starts right now.
Welcome to Cooperville.
Do you know what's fun to do in Cooperville? Pack up your shit and get the fuck out!
Listen. www.welcometocooperville.com. Who the fuck says www anymore? I can't even say it. www. Stop that. The Welcome to Cooperville podcast. On demand anywhere quality podcasts are available. And some places where cheap podcasts are available.
At the local gas station has some.
Subscribe, get updates, feel better about your life. Welcome to Cooperville.com. Check.
Welcome to Cooperville. Make sure you use a coaster. The wife gets upset when we leave rings on the tables.
What's going on, people? It is the Welcome to Cooperville podcast, episode number 29. My man, Skotty Benz, Chapin Turner, Chip. He's a man of many aliases, and I dig that about you. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man. Good. Thanks for having me in here.
No, I'm excited to talk to you about a plethora of things. I had a chance to, we crossed paths a couple of times down at Chip's Barbershop down on Water Street, and then I had a chance to listen to you on Dr. Jay LaGuardia's podcast. I've had Dr. Jay on here, talked about a bunch of stuff, and so I definitely check his out. Power, Passion, Prosperity podcast, Triple P Nation.
Yep.
Shout out to my boy Jay, or our boy Jay, he's like over in France or something right now. Just like,
yeah, he was in. He texted me earlier and showed me, sent me a picture from Dublin, Ireland. Yeah, he was like, check this barbershop out, and I was like, man, that's cool. You had to send that to me. That's what's up.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it, world traveler. I appreciate it. Yeah. But no, so listening to your story and I guess not knowing, walking into the shop and you have a presence about you. I think so you walk in and you have the slot right in the front, the chair right in the front by the windows. Yeah. You talk. You get your point across. There's laughter. So I think
the banter.
Yeah, it's good though. I think I think we need that in our life. Everybody's kind of in their own silent world a lot of the times, with their head buried in their phone. But I heard the podcast and learned so much about your story and how when you dig a little bit deeper behind entrepreneurs or people who are motivated, you learn so much about how they got to that point And I think a lot of the stuff that I want to talk about with you today is getting to that point and about overcoming, because I think there's many different paths you can take to become a successful either entrepreneur or business person or really just an overall successful person, whatever your definition of that happens to be. There's paths that are much easier than others. There are paths that are, I don't want to say
comfortable.
Yeah, the carpet is laid out kind of for you, and you're going to go through what each individual considers a struggle, a different thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But
we all have our own definition of success as well.
Exactly.
You could just be happy and just be at peace with yourself, that's awesome too.
Namaste. Some people are, sure. and that's awesome. But if you are looking for kind of this never-ending finish line where you always want to continue to grow and learn and do bigger things, to get to that point and to be able to overcome and to get in an uncomfortable situation and be able to say, you know what, this sucks, but I've been through something that's worse. Mm-hmm. I think I pulled a lot of that out of that podcast and wanted to kind of get a chance to dive in deeper and let you, really, tell your story, because I think there's a lot of people who get to a point or have maybe had similar situations in their life, and they kind of reach that. Most of the time it's a block in the brain that they just can't get past. Well, I struggle with this and therefore I can't get here. But you've been able to overcome since a very young age.
There's a lot of different ways I could look at that. Like, for instance, growing up around here, I was like first generation of mixed kids almost in this entire area. It was just white people everywhere. And then, I grew up with some Hmongs and stuff too when I grew up on Birch Street. Mm-hmm. Dealing with like racism is weird because I look, I'm light skinned. I look white. What I'm saying? Most people wouldn't even think anything unless you like probably, get to really know me or, know a little bit about me. But it's just weird to deal with something like that. It's like, damn, they don't like me because I'm like different, but like I think I'm cool. I think I'm a nice person.
Right.
So, but this is like how they judge me. So even as I got older and I made some poor decisions, once you get a felony or felonies, in my case, you get to a point where it's like, damn, like I made mistakes, but is this like, is that me now? Is that how I'm going to be remembered? Mm-hmm. Am I going to be always like that, a hustler? Like that's, because you can be a hustler, you don't have to sell drugs. So I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, man, I can do this. I can't let this like define me. So, and I always had like a niche when it came to like cutting hair or like music. I did the music when I had to write down my thoughts back in high school because I was like pent up and I had so much bottled up anger. I had no way to really release the shit. So I just write down my thoughts, you know what I mean? Like whatever was going on in my head just to give me some type of, release. So I feel like I'm rambling again.
No, that's why we're here, man. I think that's, when you're able to open form a conversation and there's no path to get to the end. And sometimes there isn't. And I've had guests on that I'm like, we'll get to an hour and 40 and I'm like, there's so much more you can tell because I think you want to be, authentic with things. Yeah. And sometimes the path to telling your story, it doesn't read like a book. You don't open it up and go, chapter 1, I was born. Yeah,
exactly. So after you do things so many times, you're like, are you tired of this shit yet?
Yeah.
Like, are you ready to kind of figure out where you want to go and where you're headed? So, and sometimes when you're stubborn, it's going to take some drastic things to really change your thoughts, like how you process shit, where your values at, like what does it mean to you? And, there's a couple things in life that like really changed like how I look at stuff. Like I was saying to Dr. J, like my grams never gave up on me. Like she always was like, you're going to school, then you're going to college, you're going, I'm packing you up and I'll bring you there myself. Like she like, I'm like, damn, like she fucking really believes in me. Like she won't. So like I have like a responsibility, like, damn, like I got to do this not only like for her, but now I also got to do it for people who didn't think I was ever going to be shit.
Right.
And then, do it for myself as well. But like at the end of the day, it's like, you got something to prove now, you know what I'm saying? So I had to get my shit together and figure out what I was going to do. And even after that, and I still had gotten in trouble because I was still stubborn and still wanted to try to make some extra, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
So it's like, and that lifestyle is addicting because you get addicted to the freedom. You can really do what you want to do, so. But yeah, so after that, I just remember having my son Apollo, and that just like switched up my shit. Like, damn, I just always be thinking like, I probably did a lot of the same shit my dad did, huh? Like, I'm just like following the cycle.
Right.
I need to break that shit and break away from that and do like my own shit and like have my own vision of how I want my life to be and what my legacy means. You know what I'm saying? So like monkey see, monkey do is that fucking simple. Your kids watch you, they get your patterns, they get your anger, they get your smart mouth, they get all of that, you know? So after that, like I said, that whole hustler thing, you get that once you get used to freedom and you realize that you were doing it on your own like that. It's like, okay, now you can break that really down into anything. I don't care if it's a cleaning business.
Right.
I don't care if it's, you know, you want to start a podcast or you want to, you know, be an artist and like lay some stuff down, you know? So, I just feel like once you realize that you were able to do that and risk everything, you're risking to go to jail. You know what I mean? You're risking your freedom. You're risking all that shit, all the dumb stuff that comes with it. Now you're going to be on probation. Mm-hmm. All this, you know what I mean? So,
and the challenges that go along with those things.
If you can do it legally and just like sit down and really plan it and just take the time to learn a few things, you know what I'm saying? Like ask people questions, find someone that you admire and you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are going to be super happy to mentor a little bit and kick you some knowledge if they see that you're hungry.
Right.
You know, so if you can do it like that, I feel like, you know, you can succeed. You just got to really want it and visualize what the hell you're trying to do. Like see a little bit of like for me, for instance, once I got an itch that it was working and people were happy, like they loved like the whole schedule aspect of the barbershop, being able to get in when they wanted to.
Right.
They liked the banter. You know what I mean? Once I got that feeling that they really enjoyed it and people started just to flow and then it started to just grow from one room to another room to now we're in a big, you know, in like a nice building, you know, and I can design it how I want. Like that makes me hungry, makes me more hungry. It makes me like, you know, I could take a lot of pride in that. And once you know that you're doing the right thing, you just got to wake up, repeat, and just be grateful, you know.
When you have to go through a lot of the things that you had to go through, even from a young age, and I grew up in this area as well. I understand what, you know, from obviously a very different vantage point, but I know what the culture was like here and how, you know, not very diverse this area has been for a long time. I think there's the last probably 10, 15 years, there's been some more diversity in the area. But when you have to go through that at a young age, you know, and the paths that you end up going down, you almost get to that fork in the road. And I think for you and maybe even for me to an extent, you know, when you add a child into the mix, and even at that, because some people can take that having a child thing and it doesn't fucking matter. You know, it's like, well, whatever, you know, it's like, you know, I'm going to still do me, you know, I have a kid, but I'm going to do me. And that can lead to, again, the cycle that you talked about. But when you have a moment of clarity or a moment of realization and you get to look back at all the struggles that you had to go through and the challenges that, you know, sometimes you put yourself in and sometimes it was just kind of what was laid before you. You are able to, I think, again, it reflects back to what I said earlier, is you go, okay, now this is about more. This is about more than just, I want to hustle and I want to have the money and the freedom. You know, now you're like, and then you start implementing the word legacy into it, you know, and showing children from infancy to, you know, hopefully, you know,
future leaders.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we think about it in so many different contexts because it's such a different generation of kids that are growing up, and they be like, why don't you do more of this? But you are able to kind of grab life by the balls and say, all right, I'm a pretty good hustler. You know, I know what it takes to grind and what, you know, some of the similarities in business practice that go along. How can I use this that's not showing my son or it's not showing my children that this is the path and it's going to get, you know, a path of least resistance. There's not a whole lot of struggle. There's some concerns, but here I'm going to go and it's going to be late nights, early mornings, Saturday, Sunday, you know, trips, you know, to go and meet and network, all that stuff that you had to go through. Do you think that has given you kind of I won't say thicker skin, but kind of a stronger mentality, you know, to make some of the big choices that you have to make?
Yeah, I've like a lot of stuff is just on my instincts, you know, like just how I really genuinely feel about it, you know. I don't know. I feel like what's the word I'm looking for? Intuitive empath. You know what I'm saying?
You're an empath. Yeah. You kind of got to, you feel for the environment. Yeah.
Yeah. So, man, every time I think about all the stupid decisions I made, I'm just like, man, why did I keep doing it over and over and over again? Like I've fell off and lost all the dust, and like I was making shit decent amount of money and fell off like 4 times and had nothing. I had to climb all the way back up, and just did it over and over. And it's like I think about that shit like I never want to do that again. I never want to do that again. Yeah. Right. So yeah, it did help me get over it. It helps me get over my careless decisions. Like I want to plan more what I'm doing so my attack is right. You know what I mean? Like success favors the prepared. You know, so
Absolutely.
as long as you're really focused on what you want to do and like continue to tell yourself what, like your self-talk is so major. You have to be able to talk to yourself in a way where you respect yourself. Because if you're talking like you wouldn't, like you're sitting there talking, having a negative thought in your head, you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes think about if you'd be saying that shit to your friend next to you, like you wouldn't say that goofy shit to your friend. You know what I mean? Like fucking snap out of that shit and just think about the positive stuff and be grateful, because that's what happens with all of us. We always have these negative thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, but it's hard. But if you're conscious of it and you can just switch it off and be like, oh, why are you mad? Like some people will be pissed off and they just act like an asshole, but you're not mad at me. You're mad because you fucking slammed your finger in the door earlier this morning. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
We fall into, I think, traps where really small things, really small issues can destroy an entire day. And if you destroy an entire day, especially if you're somebody who is, trying to move something forward, whether it's a business, whether it's a fitness plan, whether it's eating healthy, whatever it is that you're trying to be a better parent, whatever it is that you're trying to move forward. One thing, you mentioned slamming your finger in the door. That shit happens, It does, my wife and my son, they are at some point they're not going to have any toes because they kick fucking everything. Like I just hear ow. It's like it's about every 45 minutes when they're both here. Like ow, I'm like, who stubbed their toe on what? Yeah. But what happens is if you hold on to that moment and it kind of gets you in a negative mind frame and it gets you kind of pissed off and that just kind of dwells on your day. Someone asks you, Chip hits me up on IG and is like, hey, what's up, man? I'm like, well, slam my finger in the door. When did you do that? Well, like 12 hours ago, but fuck, man, like I'm still pissed off about it. That whole like time frame, that 12 hours or however long, maybe that one thing stopped you from posting something on that you wanted to get out or making a phone call. You're like, well, I can't, I'm all pissed off now. I can't make a phone call to a potential client, or I can't, for you, can't go into work, or, I can't work. I got this sore finger, man. I can't make this shit work.
I got bills to pay.
That if you fall into that, and that's on the light end of things. I mean, you can have some, more serious things that occur over the course of a day.
Yeah. It's important to have that balance and be able to mentally like put yourself in different situations and separate yourself from the business to the personal. Like just because something may upset you, that doesn't mean you have to react and let anyone even see that it fazed you. You know what I'm saying? Like you have the option to process it however you want to, but you got to be aware of what's going on. Like we all have like for instance, like my girl, if she doesn't have coffee in the morning, like how it is, like if you're a coffee drinker, I'm probably not even going to say like 3 words to her until she like goes ahead and gets her coffee, sits down, and then she's in her zone. Like, cool. Like that's her pattern.
We good now?
Yeah, you're good? Okay. Like, yeah. So, everyone's different. Everyone's hardwired differently. So there really is no right or wrong, but especially if you don't care what people think or in general, and more power to you, I guess.
Yeah, if you can have kind of a I don't give a fuck attitude, then that's
but you want to be kind of courteous most of the time.
Yeah, like you should put pants on before you go outside. I mean, you may not give a fuck what your neighbors think, but they probably will call the police. I mean, I'm not saying that really happened. We talked about internal dialogue and your thoughts and how you handle that situation. You slam your finger in the door, or a conversation with girlfriend or wife, or if you can like take the second or 2 minutes to have a conversation with yourself and even use yourself in the third person, like, are you really going to let this conversation destroy? Think about the conversation. Think about slamming your finger in the door. Are you going to allow this to unhinge your entire day? If I slam my finger in the door at 3:00 in the morning, and my morning goes off, and my kid gets up at 6:45 or 7 o'clock, and I got to get him ready for school, and I'm kind of on edge about this incident. Well, now he kind of gets on edge, and then we're sending him off to school.
It's contagious.
The trickle down effect, and then all of a sudden it's the end of the day, and if you're still holding on to that, but if you can have that talk with yourself, like, dude, imagine letting this go and being able to like accomplish something, or at least, hey, he's getting up. If you need to take some time to
sometimes
ice your finger.
Sometimes you also need someone around you who's not scared to just to tell you how it is. Like,
shut the fuck up, dude.
My girl straight up would be like, yo, like, I don't know what's going on, but I can tell you're in a bad mood. It's like everyone can feel if your energy's off. And I'm just like, well, I've had a fucked up day.
Have you seen my finger? Like, for real.
I'm
fucked up.
I'm just quiet. Leave me alone. I'll be back. But like, I'll go and lock myself in the studio for a couple hours. Mm-hmm. Like, the way I process my music is, if something does affect me, I can't process my thoughts, like, to actually put it down on paper or on my phone. Like, I have to like live with it.
Right.
To like, this is how it really made me feel. Like, cause sometimes, like, if you react immediately, sometimes you're just saying something because you want to be spiteful, or you just want to be petty because it's funny or something, but really it's pissing you off,
Mm. Now, we talked about writing and we talked about music. Skotty Benz on the socials. Check it out.
Skotty.
Yeah, don't forget the K.
Yeah.
There is, you talked about writing at a young age and being able to take your emotions and your anger and the things that you were dealing with, even at a very young age, and be able to take those and find an outlet for them. And for you, that was pen to paper and just writing what you were feeling. Where is that still a tool that you utilize? I mean, you kind of just briefly talked about being able to go into the studio, but
that's like actually exactly what I do, because I like to rap about like my life, what I've been through, what I've seen like from people closest to me. I don't really like to use like a bunch of imaginary shit. Right. I just feel like that's just I'm not a gimmick, and I don't want to be portrayed as one either. So yeah, so when I write, it is personal. A lot of the stuff is really just about it could be about a family situation. It could be about a flashback to high school. It could be about seeing somebody, crash and burn. Yeah. It could be about anything like that. So
music, and when you think hip hop, I grew up and I was like Cypress Hill was introduced to me, and then my mom like almost disowned me. She was like, "What the fuck are you listening to?" So I, I think Cypress Hill led me kind of into some House of Pain stuff, and then I was into the the Tupac and Biggie and Puff, and then that whole rivalry thing. And so, even though there was some authenticity there was. I think especially when you look at a guy like Pac, who was that's pretty much writing it how it was.
Yeah.
There's some aspects of it that step into this imaginary lifestyle that you talked about. This really isn't real. But
smoking mirrors.
Yeah. Look, it's really nice over here. It is it's driving the beautiful vehicle in the video, and then like, well, I had to catch an Uber out of here because I'm out. But
yeah, but I mean, if you're following people who you feel like are real, and you're watching their footsteps and the stuff that they did, and then the way that they're living now. Like, even if they did have the imagination before they really like had it, they kind of had it set out to where they really wanted to go, and then it became their reality.
It was they put it in the universe.
But they had to, but they also had to do all of the groundwork and all of the stuff that everyone else doesn't want to do, and that's why there's the 1%ers, and then there's the in betweens, and then the cats who are just like, I'm cool, like my bills are paid. Like that's what's up too. Like, but I'm never satisfied personally. Like my girl would be like, "Oh yeah, you cool, you happy, you got a G-Wagon." She's like, "In fucking 2 years, you're gonna want something else." I'm like, "Oh, well, maybe." I don't know.
More than likely. But being an artist, a hip hop artist from not just the Midwest, but being from a smaller market than a lot of what. And that's not that transcends hip hop. I mean, that's like really any artist that you see from any genre. It's tough to find them that they may have roots in a small community, but all of a sudden they move to, Minneapolis, Chicago, Detroit, and then all of a sudden then that's where they're from. They go from waving green and yellow to I'm a Lions fan all of a sudden. Like, no, you're really not. Yeah. But I think there is. When you grow up around here and when you grow up in the Midwest, you almost it's ingrained with you a certain sense of being authentic about things and being real. And when you writing songs about like, no, this shit's like actually what's happening. This is the struggles of, how you grew up. This is the struggles of, being a hustler and what you had to, go through to, hustle on one end and then, put it into a business perspective. Where is your career at now? I know there was, I checked out the video, Pesos Euros, and there's a lot of positive things going on, from my vantage point in your career. Where are you at with things? Where's the road taking you?
Well, right now I'm working on a gig with my guy Curfew out in California. He's trying to line a couple things up out there, but really I'm just looking at my body of work. My next project that I'm going to push out is called AOTA, which stands for All of the Above. And so I got a bunch of singles on there from dope local producers, Big J on the Beat, shout out to him, shout out to Curfew. My guy Northern Noise does all the mixing and mastering. I just released a couple cover records with my guy J-Mob, MGM Music. And we did, what did we do? We did Oxbow, that's about to drop today or tomorrow on my SoundCloud. Let's see, what's the other joint I just did? We did Tap, the Nav and Meek Mill remix, and we did Money in the Grave, the Drake and Rick Ross. So we just released those. But I'm really just trying to plan out my next video, where I'm going to be at, and then balance that with my life being, a business owner and a father and, future husband. So
future husbands of the world.
Yeah, so I'm trying to just really balance it out, because as much as I love music, that was one of the things too. Like, that's why when I was hustling, most of my hustle stuff was going towards my music passion. Right. But even as I'm doing my music, I haven't really found the avenue where I feel like I could live comfortably and take care of my whole family. So so I had to step back and really prioritize where, my responsibilities laid. So, so as much as I love music, I'm out here still grinding, doing everything independently. So it does take a lot of planning, but I'm looking forward to my next little project and visual. So,
do you think that makes you a better artist, a more rounded artist, when you do have to go through, the realities of balance? Because I think it's
hard for me. I can't respect it, dude. That's why I talked about the whole gimmick thing. Like, I couldn't, even if you look cool as hell on TV and I meet you in real life and you're not like that, that shit's corny to me. Like, I wouldn't hang out with you in real life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. Like, if everyone's looking like it's cool and you're wearing a whole bunch of fake jewelry, and then I meet you in person, I can tell that shit's like, just like, what is he wearing? That shit's fucking weird to me. And I can't respect you for that. But I'm not saying you can wear it, but then just be real about it. Don't act like you're fucking jumping in a Bentley. Right. I don't know. That's why I was going to talk about Nipsey Hussle. That's why I respected him so much and watched his grind for 15 years. 20 years as he made his way into the industry, and he was just respected, and then before you know it, he just blew the fuck up, and he was everything that he talked about. Like, that's awesome to watch that, just
yeah. So it's a lot of the industry, music industry has changed a lot. From the radio chair, from, like I said before we started recording, since time I was 18 or 19 years old. Even before that, I was playing the tunes at like school dances and stuff. Like, I first got my license, and the first thing I did was like, well, can I fit like some big PVs in here? And I had like double tape deck shit that I was rolling out, and instead of like actually going to the dance, I was like DJing at it. But the industry has gone from the select few that got through. And this is all genres, to the use of social media, avenues like SoundCloud, not ease, because it's still not easy to put out a good music video. It still takes, and several of the ones that you put out, that's quality stuff, but it's not as big, massive production undertaking as it was in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s. So
technology is crazy.
And it's still difficult. The struggle is still, not to coin the phrase, but the struggle is still real. But there seems to be many more avenues for artists these days to kind of get their music into not just their fans' hands and in their fans' ears, but to have, the capability of something spreading like wildfire when you utilize that fan network and they start to say, hey, man, check this out, and you start to, catch the ear of somebody else that you want to work with. Is it a...
Yeah, it was like what you're talking about with the whole networking. Yeah. Like, if you get something that is just, because it could be for instance, I'm still trying to write a hit. Maybe I've already, written one, and it just hasn't hit the ears of somebody who can actually do something with it. But at the end of the day, it's like, you could have this dope ass record, But it's all about your networking and who you're meeting and whose hands is jumping into, because maybe the time is right now for it, or maybe it's not. Maybe they're not ready for this yet, because as you know, the culture just constantly is changing. And like shit, I was listening to I think it was Sway in the Morning, and Nelly was talking about, they were like, you know, how do you think about artists nowadays? And he said, I just try to respect them and let them do their thing, because back when I was coming up, everyone was trying to, you know, criticize me and, you know, talk shit about my type of music because it was different. But he's like, now I got Diamond Records, you know? So it's like, you gotta let people be themselves and be unique, because you're not the one. They don't give a shit if you like your song. You're not buying your own shit a million times.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, I got my song, I just went platinum, but I bought them all. They're all sitting in the fucking
like,
truck out here. Yeah.
You know, so like it has to be like we were saying, like it's got to be like contagious, man. Like it's got to be something that like everyone can relate to, and like and a lot of times with music, why people love, you know, songs and different styles and genres, is because it like makes you feel a certain type of way. It sparks your emotions, and it makes you like be like, man, I really feel like that, you know. Yeah. And that's why I love music.
It's, you know, music's been crazy over the last. I mean, it's been crazy forever. But I grew up in a household that my dad was like hardcore old school country, like the old shit. Like we didn't have anything to play it on shit. Like, I don't know, like whatever, I don't know what we're going to do with this, but
he's the one that sang it.
Yeah. He was like, you know, fuck it. I'll just grab the guitar. It'll be fine. You know, and my mom was kind of a child of the 60s. So we kind of had some of the hippie stuff playing in there. So I think, you know, I branched out into hip hop when I was young, because it was just the opposite of all that. It was like, okay, I'm going against what, you know, the 90s when hip hop kind of blew up and Yo MTV Raps was on. Here I am. I mean, I'm a white kid from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, you know, and all these, we had access to all these things, but it was cool. It has been cool to see this crossover, this genre crossover that's happened in the last, you know, 5 years, country and hip hop. Yeah. I mean, two genres that you never, ever, ever thought that you were going to see like combined. I just watched, what was I watching? I watched a video of Post Malone and Dwight Yoakam doing a song together, and I was like, my mind, I almost lost my shit. I'm like, did I take something accidentally? I thought I took a vitamin, but I feel like I'm seeing Post.
I mean, it's the community.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
like
so
the community
crazy
that supports it is huge, especially in this area now too. Like it's really blowing up.
I was witness to, and I worked on a rock station for the majority of my career, but I was in the same building as a major country station, not just in the area, but one that is nationally recognized as one of the bigger country stations in the country. And I remember first Jason Aldean he had a little bit more of a hip hop sound to one of his songs, and there was some pushback from that. There was Nelly that jumped on with Florida Georgia Line, and there was like pushback on, and this is internal. This is the internal. You see a song that's, and whoever listens to this podcast, you know my feelings about record charts and how much money goes into getting your song pushed up and down it. But
exactly,
when these things are not just trending on the chart, but you see them on all platforms, are being heard across the country. In small town USA, you have Nelly and Florida Georgia Line. It was really fun to watch the pushback from our management team, for the country station, say, "Ooh, I don't know, we better play the edited version." They edit out the Nelly rap part of it. To now, all of a sudden, you're seeing these major collaborations with hip hop, and country. And hip hop and rock has always kind of had this friendship. I mean, you got Run DMC and is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they belong there. But the country hip hop thing has always kind of been. It's a positive thing to see because you're talking about two genres of music that, in my mind, growing up, had a tendency to be kind of stereotyped and pigeonholed as that's over there and that's over there. They're on separate sides of, this is, here's the line and nobody up here listens to that, and nobody down here listens to that, and we're keeping them separate. Now, all of a sudden, you kind of see them collaborating together and working together, and I think it's
that's the love of music.
Yeah.
And like being open to try something new, I think it's cool. Me personally, like I don't listen to like any country really like that, right. But that doesn't mean I don't respect some like the classic records and like, you know what I mean? Like when people were making music way back when, like they had a different lifestyle. Like maybe if I was born in the 50s or 60s, I would love country music. Right. Maybe I would love some of these songs, and you know what I'm saying? Because that's like what you see. Like when I grew up, I was listening to like R&B, Boys to Men and shit. Like that's what I was growing up. I was growing up on all old school like R&B stuff, and you know, so I don't know. It's like you said, the opposite. It was literally the opposite. Like when I'd listen, I remember being in the car and being like, "Mom, why is he singing like that, bro?" Like I can't figure it out. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is he doing it to his voice like that? Like, I know he's got to be doing it intentionally. And she's like, "It's country music," and I was like, "I just don't like it."
I don't understand. Like,
I just don't.
Did he fall?
He could do it so much smoother. Like, I don't know what's going on. Whatever.
Yeah, and I think I still have some of that too. I mean, I'm a connoisseur of all genres of music, and more because I like a lot of different takes on life.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I love doing this podcast, because you get a lot of different, you know, angles and perspectives on things.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's artists, and there's artists in rock and that I have heard and that people are like, "This is the best shit ever and you're gonna love it." And I'm like, who the fuck's buying this? Like, for real, like where is this, who is this angry child? Like let him come to the come to find some namaste.
Yeah.
But I think music industry and being an entrepreneur, especially hip hop, I think there's been a lot of great examples of artists that have multitasked and done a lot of different things in a lot of different areas. And I foresee you kind of in that same world, because you have not just Skotty Benz and the hip hop career, but you also have, you know, you got the barbershop, you're a business owner, you got, you know, you're part of a product line, which I have in the bathroom. I don't know if it's from the high maintenance. I got the paste.
And I got
the clothing line too.
Yeah.
You know,
peoplesuckapparel.com. Jump on there.
But you got your hands in so many things. Where does Chip find balance? Where do you find that?
Definitely my girl.
Yeah, she's the one that kind of
she's the one that processed, like, because I have so many ideas. Sometimes she'll be like, "Oh my god, babe, hold on, just chill." Like, she's like, "We're already helping organizing all the stuff for the homeless and stuff right now." Like, and I'm already on to the next thing that I want to do. But she's like, "No, let's just like slow down, organize the stuff," and you know. So if I'm doing too much, she kind of lets me know and gives me good perspective. Like I just know that she's not gonna bullshit with me, and she just keeps it like, no, like, let's just chill for a second.
Do you file those ideas away though? Jot them down, like, oh man, and if now's not the right time, maybe
I can't even let them go if I wanted to. Some of them are just stuck in my head.
They're in the back of the brain all the time.
Like I have other ideas, like, you know, for close friends and family too, like what I want to invest in them with, because I like know what they kind of want to do, but like, you know, you never want to just like kick them off the ledge. But you want to like get him to look, it's deep enough down there. You can jump.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Just like take the little leap, but you know, but you can't force anyone to do it. Like, you know, the old saying, bring the horse to the water, but you can't force it to drink it, you know, so.
That was probably a country artist, by the way.
Probably was, yeah.
See,
you know?
See, it's everywhere.
Someone correct me, help me out.
No, you got, with all these things that you have going on and still more ideas and things like that, on an important scale, hustling for yourself, hustling for the legacy, for the family, to show your kids, not here's what you should do. You don't have to follow my path exactly, but if you want something, if you want, you know, to reach this level, or if you want to do something, you have to work for it. How much does the give back, because you kind of touched on it there, and I want to make sure that we brought it up, with doing things for the homeless. I know you do some great stuff with doing the free haircut thing, and I know the girls at the shop do things for veterans, which is fantastic. Yeah. How important is that, even as you not struggle, because I don't think that you're in a struggling position, but even as you're continuing to grow something, it could be very easy to fall into a trap where you're like, nope, I got to just like fucking focus on these 35 things that I have in front of me. But to be able to bring that element in where you are not doing it for you, when you're not doing it for, you know, the brand, you're doing it because you can help.
Yeah, because if it feels good, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, as I get older and look at a lot of the stuff that my mom probably took more help than she probably didn't even want to take it, because she was prideful, you know, but realizing like someone else seeing that like you're trying really hard, like, like this was a good person, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, and then when they probably helped her out, it probably made them feel good too, like, I did something right, you know? Like, you feel good by helping somebody else out, especially like if they are trying their hardest, or they just need, like, you know, a pat in the back or a haircut to smile, like, to go to that job interview, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Like, I be trying to tell people sometimes, like, why don't you just try it? Why don't you just like try to do something nice for somebody? Like, you might like it.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they'll do it for somebody else too. It's crazy how it works. You know what I'm saying? Like,
which you can create by helping one person, and then that grows.
And it doesn't take that much. Like, it might take a little bit of your time. Cool, you spend a day doing something. You're tired. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but you're gonna feel good about it. And not only that, like you're gonna like make a little imprint on somebody else too, to be like their conscience will be eating at them slowly. Like, I gotta do something for somebody else. I don't even care if you hold open the door for somebody, or you help someone grab like the groceries and bring it to their car, or it just like being a good, try to be a good person. Like, we all have our flaws. We all battle with demons, but at the end, like, we're all fucking the same.
we're all on this rock, flying through space.
Yeah, we're just all battling, our own shit inside of our head. That's why I was talking about the whole self-talk thing. Like, you got to know how to talk to yourself.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to get trapped in your own head. You know what I'm saying? You can't escape that.
We tend to live there, and sometimes that duration of time that we stay up in our head, we get lost in it, and you find yourself. I talk a lot about falling down the rabbit hole of being on social media and what that. I 100,000% believe in the value of social media, especially for entrepreneurs and people that are trying to grow business and trying to grow brand. But you can fall down a trap and end up in a very negative space unintentionally. Yeah. The same thing can happen in your brain when you start to have those negative thoughts. And I think when you can take time, clear out your thoughts, clear out your head, and look at your day and know that, man, I'm gonna get up, and I was gonna work out, but I didn't. And I'm gonna spend some time on Facebook, and then I'm probably gonna game for a little bit, and then I got to get my kid up. When you look at the ability to help somebody and what that can do for your mental process, if you can look at how you spend your day, it is amazing how much time that people have. Everybody says, there's not enough hours in the day. There's not enough time in the day. Well, if you look at your day and look at how it flows and functions, do it for 3 days. Start on maybe don't start on a Monday if you're not a Monday person, but start on a day and just kind of mentally or even on a notepad, keep track of how your day goes. And if you all of a sudden say, wow, yeah, I went to the bathroom and ended up spending 45 minutes in there. Most of the time was spent on Facebook, just scrolling with my thumb. Or I sat down and I was looking, I had to buy a beard straightener on Amazon, and I ended up in the Amazon trap of, oh, look, there's a sale on something I really don't need. Or I was driving over here and I went to the grocery store without a list. And now 2 hours later, I'm walking out with, $400 worth of groceries that half of them will get thrown away. But if you look at your day and you say, man, if I can take an hour, Chapin's doing something for the homeless. He's, putting, meals together. He's doing haircuts. Maybe he needs somebody to help clean up afterwards. Hey man, what time are you done? I'm probably gonna be done about 3. Let me come and help clean up, or let me come and help, and I'll bring some soda down, or bring some water down. That little thing, and all of a sudden you go, damn, that felt pretty good. Yeah. And then the next time something comes up, or the next day, you're like, yeah. Or you see, I know you're posting a lot of stuff about what, the good things that you're doing in our community. Damn it. Now I want to get involved. Maybe I'll come and talk to you. Maybe I'll come up with another thing. Maybe we'll collaborate on some ideas and say, hey, I got this idea for veterans, or for the homeless, or for, even the elderly, helping out the people that, just need something.
Just to push, man.
Maybe just a smile, like you said.
Yeah, man. I just, the goal is just to inspire and motivate people to just want a little bit more, or just to help out a little bit more. Like, I don't know. Like, my friend, I was like, man, I can't believe you just littered. She just looked at me, and now I know in her mind though, she's like, man, I can't even throw shit out the window anymore without thinking about that. But it kind of works like that, like just funny shit, man.
It's it was a small thing. It's very similar though. Like, I was throwing away like a food container, and we recycle. We recycle on a daily basis. But I don't know, it was some documentary that was on, but I was like, well, do you know you can recycle this? And now I'm like looking at every single thing I throw away, like, shit, like if I throw this in the garbage, like this is going to be in this bag like forever, and I'm not even like a huge environmentalist, but I'm like, you start implementing those little non-conscious things.
But then because just think about, like, so let's say like in 10, 15 years, this young man's like, yeah, man, remember you were giving us free haircuts for those, back then, every day for first day of school? Now maybe they have this idea where they can fill a void for somebody else or help them, like when they needed something, boom. And then it's just, you know what I mean? Like it can just pay it forward. Like just one person, you never know what you're really doing for them. And it's not really necessarily your business. You're just doing it because you wanted to, and you wanted to help somebody. So.
And you don't know. You talked about inner demons, the things that people are dealing with. Yeah. It's something that we are so wrapped up in our own thoughts, in our own mental process, that we can go through our day, and we don't really, maybe outside of the people that are most influential in our lives, wives, girlfriends, kids, like we don't think about the person that just cut us off on the way to the school. Mm-hmm. You know, like what the fuck? Like, dude, like I'm here. Like, can't you see? Like, if you took time to consciously think about things that happen, you don't know that. Maybe, you know what? Maybe that person's just an asshole. There are those people out there. Right. But you don't know.
Maybe their family's in the hospital or something.
They're dealing with something. Yeah. They had a bad day. They just got fired. Mm-hmm. They have to try to figure out now the rest, their life plan. We are so quick to be like, well, that person's that way because of that. Because we don't ever take the time to go, you know what? I bet that other human probably has some shit going on that, we're all fucked up. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, like if some people are really good at like blocking their fucked upness, like, oh, that person over there, and I do this every day. I go to school to pick up my kid at 3:30 and I stand there and I look at, soccer mom, like driving a fucking Cadillac and I look at, dude over here all like, oh, just got back from the gym. I'm like, it's fucking 3:00 in the afternoon. Like, what the fuck? But we don't know. Like that chick's fucked up. Like she did something and she's like, oh man, I gotta like really wear these yoga pants like really fucking like every single day. Yeah. Like so we don't even think about what other people are going through to trying to be like, this ball of fire that has some rock on the outside that we're all in going through space. And we should probably care a little bit more about one another. Yeah. We maybe should,
it's really help easy out. To be, like for instance, me, I say what's on my mind a lot. Like I try to kind of like be aware of it, but sometimes I'm just going to say some shit because that's how I feel at the moment. That doesn't mean I think that everyone is like that.
Right.
I mean, I could have just been, I was not going to say the person's name in particular. I could just be like, oh my God, like this person's driving me fucking nuts and just make a comment. I'm not sitting there like, yeah, I'm trying to bash the shit out of you. But at the same time, since I'm talking about that, like you also don't want to get sucked into shit like that.
Yeah. Other people's shit. Yeah.
You get, So
other people's shit. Yeah.
Sometimes, like you got to keep your circle to a healthy experience because certain types of people will drain your energy and they might not even be aware of it.
Yeah.
But some people are just kind of set up like that and, but if you, I don't know, it's weird. Like, so you have to like just balance your time because sometimes they could be an awesome person, but that doesn't mean that they have like these negative characteristics that you just kind of like, oh shit,
Yeah. If somebody that is a constant complainer, a lot of times there's people that complain about the cards that they were dealt and this is the way I am because of this. And and once you hear that for the 30th or 40th time, you're like,
that's what that's what I was saying when I had gotten in trouble like so many times. I'm like, dude, like I can't keep doing these stupid shit and dealing with the same stuff. I gotta switch it up. I gotta figure out what's, you know what I'm saying? Like I had to make the change. You have to be accountable that you're the one, like you're the reason that a lot of these things are happening. So you gotta fucking, you know what I'm saying? Grab the bull by the horns or jump in the mirror and look at yourself and just be like, okay, I got to switch this up. Yeah. I got to change. I can't keep doing this shit over and over.
There's a great motivational speaker, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'll hit it up in the show notes. But he said, you are where you are in life because that's where you wanted to be. There's always going to be extenuating circumstances, I think, but where you put yourself and how you think about yourself, how you deal with emotions about whatever's going on. There's also something to be said about human drive. There's a person that you can give a haircut to, that haircut inspires them and they look in the mirror and they go, damn, like I feel human and I look human. Maybe they've been kind of just in a rut and that was the one thing that picked them up. They found a job and then again, maybe they go back and they can help out in a certain way. For real. There's others that will take that haircut and be like, thanks. The next time you come, they'll be like, yeah, I need another haircut. Thanks. And they will just cycle around. You gotta find something that gives you the drive so that you're not
Yeah.
You know, you can say,
find the gratitude and the humility.
I'm here because this is where I wanted to be in life. This, you know, it's nobody else's fault.
There's always some type of circumstances like where it's like, okay, you really had no control. But I agree with you 100%. I think that if you really, really want something bad enough, and you can like I said, I talked about the whole visualize thing. Like you really have to get those like emotions to feel like you already have it, like you've possessed it, like dreamed about it, woke up, made a different plan so you could get to where you wanted to go. Like you have to really be able to feel that shit. And then your drive is to wake up and grind and just one step closer every time. But like everyone talks about the big goal, you know what I'm saying, the one at the end. Really there's 500,000 in between, small daily ones that you kill. Yeah. That's the shit that gets you to where you want to go. You know, so and for me, I took a lot of baby steps. I went backwards, I don't know how many miles, and then had to walk barefoot through the cold and do a bunch of stupid shit to finally figure out, I could have jumped in a warm car with you guys the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so just I don't know. But
sometimes those experiences, those failures, you need them. And I've failed a million times. Sometimes I've failed at the same thing. We were just talking about. I did the same shit again. I failed at that again.
My God.
But at some point you go, all right. Now when I look back in retrospect, now I see that failure was on me, and I need to get my shit straight so I can continue to go on. Goals are so important. And I think understanding I don't think there's an end goal. I talk about this a lot on this podcast. There's never an ending. There's never a finish line. It keeps moving. If your dream is to have a beautiful house with a pool, you need to have something after you get that beautiful house with a pool.
Yeah, you could have another beautiful house with a pool in another state.
Yeah, you should have two. Find one. If you don't like snow, get the fuck out of here during winter. No, you gotta have a plan.
Yeah, but I think I'm on that same wave. That's what I want to
do. If you but to get to that point, if that's your definition of happiness, and I know it's very superficial, it's like but you want to figure out, and you mentioned like 500 million. What today gets you closer to that goal? And it doesn't have, I mean, people think of it in such, if I don't have it today, if I don't wake up tomorrow morning and all of a sudden I have 1 million followers on Instagram and endorsers are knocking down my door and they want to just throw money at me, and I bought that house and I bought that house and I bought Florida. You know, patience is so key. Accomplish that goal. Accept it. Yes, that was awesome. Hey, today I made that phone call. I reached out to, Skotty Benz. I said, let's fucking jump on my podcast, man. Let's talk.
For sure.
Done. Let's do it. What's next? Okay, how can we grow tomorrow? That house in Florida or that house in Arizona, wherever you want to be when it's fucking snowing out. LA, it's still out there.
You got to find those. You got to find the people who like motivate you. The people who have stuff that you haven't even figured out how the fuck you could do it yet. But being around those type of people, is only going to help you. Right. If you're hanging around a bunch of fucking losers, you're going to be a loser. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Even if you're like the coolest,
you could be a coolest fucking person, but you still might be a loser at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Like life is a marathon, so I'm not saying like just because you take it the wrong path, you're just checking out. Right. But just get ahead of that shit and hang out with people who like have the best intentions, like pure intentions. Like they don't have these side fucking views of you, or they're talking shit behind your back when you leave, or you know what I'm saying? Like have people around you who are like, yo, that's a cool motherfucker, that's why I hang out with him. Like he's gonna do something good. I can see it in his eye. Like he's got the drive. That's why. And then in their minds, they're like, that's why I help him. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to waste your time on people either. Like in business, like if you fail fast, get out. Yeah. Let's go start something else. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Be ready. Be ready and just and be able to, like, when you see it or you feel it, sometimes you just got to go with that shit. You know what I mean? So
did you have people when you became a business owner, when you opened the barbershop, and obviously it's gone, it's grown,
we're in a little bit, 3 years now, I think.
Yeah. Did you have people that maybe to your face were I don't want to say that to your face, but there can be people that tell you to your face, like, sure, hey, this is really cool. And I think you're really good.
They'll project your fears on.
But but shouldn't you maybe look at, like, here's a real job over here where you have a boss and you have some, like, God, dude, Chapin, you want to be your own boss? Like Did you have people that
Yeah, I had a lot.
kindly, they were nice about it,
Yeah.
but tried to be like, we're trying to protect you, keep you in the nest.
Yeah, but seeing is believing. So like I remember bringing it up to my grandfather, and he was like a little sketched at first, but he had known I had been out at the mall cutting for like 2 years, and he's like, you already been cutting hair for like, he's like, how old are you? He's like, you know, I've been cutting hair for 20 years, you know what I mean? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, all right, well, let's go see what this spot's like, that you're looking at. So I went and showed it to him, and he was like, oh, this is it? He's like, this is a little ass room right here, And I'm like, yeah, this is it. This is it. And he's
This
like,
is my spot.
He's like, how much is it? And I told him, and he's like, well, okay. He's like, I already paid like I think maybe 8 months down. I was like, I already paid 8 months down. And I was like, because I don't want any stress as I'm doing my thing,
As you're growing.
He was like, that's smart, Then he was like, yeah, this is easy for you. You got it. So he, like, when he saw it, then he was like, nah, he's good. Like, I know he can do this. Then when I told him I had, a couple other people that wanted to work as well, he was like, cool, we'll figure it out. He's like, you know what you're doing. I think you got it under control now, And like him just giving me that little bit of, like, because a lot of people were telling me, like, they'll project their fears on you. Like I was like, you know what I'm saying? So you got to just know and be sure and have your mind made up when you really want to do something. And you have to also be passionate about it, like, and just know, like, this is for me. This is what I want to do. And then you just got to stick to it. And you just, because there's going to be a lot of doubts. You like I said, those thoughts in your head, like, you're going to come into these situations where you just, like, have a down day, you know, but you just got to just realize, like, all right, today's done. Let's go to tomorrow, and I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna attack this shit early. You know? So
you can't let yesterday ruin today too.
Yeah, because if you get in that cycle, man, it's just really hard. Because the worst part about it is it's like the universe will just know you feel like shit. So then you just happen to find people who also want your company now, and before you know it, you're fucking. You've had 2 days of just like doing nothing besides like having a couple drinks and just talking about stupid shit.
You're like, wait a minute,
I need to get the hell out of here. Let me just get my mind right.
Some fucking clarity, man. Just give me some fresh air. Give me some sunshine. No, it's
so don't do that.
We talk about people, and the people you surround yourself with is so important. And the projecting of people's emotions and how they feel about themselves. You run into that in not just business. And not just somebody who's trying to pursue a musical career, because that's even a bigger. I imagine somebody who's like, well, like really, like you want to be a hip hop star? Is that your thing? Like, because I get that. When I got on the radio, they're like, well, when are you going to get back in radio? I'm like, I'm done. Like I'm done with that. That is it's a dying entity. I'm moving on to something new, something that I really have a passion and a drive for. Yeah. But if you have people who are fearful for you, this goes into, like, if you're into fitness, if you're into, eating healthy, if you like anything that you're into that some people classify as uncomfortable, like, oh man, I couldn't get up and run. And why are you getting up early and running? What are you doing posting all this stuff about, hey, listen to this, gosh, man, you're really doing a lot of something that bothers me a lot of the time. And once you can, like, separate that negativity from, like, oh man, maybe I am doing this too much, or maybe I'm working too hard. Maybe, maybe I should take a day off and not hustle today. It's not you, it's them. They are looking at you as something that, man, I don't want to be that uncomfortable. I don't want to wake up every day and, wake up on a Saturday and know that I have to go in and I have to work, or I have to, put some hours in here, do this, or hey, it's not just all fun and games. You actually have to, if something comes up and you have to jump on it, you have to jump on it. Yeah, so you really you don't have to hate those people. You don't have to hate on them. You can just understand that they are uncomfortable with how comfortable you are being uncomfortable, if that made any sense.
Yeah. If you're an entrepreneur, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
You have to. Because if you're not feeling like you're doing too much, then guess what? You're not. Yeah. Like, you have to always be doing a little bit more. Like, I didn't want to go down and wash my windows at the shop today and wipe the creases and all this shit, but I also didn't want to pay somebody else to do it.
Right.
So,
yeah. Well, yeah.
So I'll take some time and go down there and just do the shit. You know what I mean? So
yeah, if you can dig through the shit, And there's always going to be shit. There's always going to be things like having to clean your windows or computer crashes or just shit you got to deal with. You have to be able to understand that's just a part of being an entrepreneur. That's just things are going to come up. And if you're the boss, you're the top dog, you're the shot caller, you're going to have to be the one to deal with it. And if you're not ready to sweat, if you're not ready to be dog tired at the end of a day and, maybe have to miss out on some things that, and you try not to. I think when you have kids, you have to put that into your day because I think it's important. But you also want them to see you working. You want them to see what it's like to come home with, with bloody knuckles and, finger that got smashed in the door earlier this morning. Yeah. and just go, damn, my dad got after it today. Yeah. I know that my kid has gotten up and he's been in a crabby mood and I've, tried to lighten it up. Yeah. He knows at the end of the day, dad went and hustled today. He tried to put me in a better spot. You want to have that be a part of it, but you got to be able to handle the bullshit that comes every single day because it's always going to be there. It's
always something. And a lot of times, you have to deal with somebody else's actions.
Yeah.
So you're apologizing for shit that you didn't even do, but you know that it's not their fault, first off. Second, you have to protect your brand. Always do whatever you really can do to protect your brand, you know what I mean? Because it's the 20-to-1 rule. Yeah. It's a bad experience, they can go tell everybody. You have an awesome experience, you might just tell your wife.
Yep. That was really great. I went to that restaurant. It was delicious. It was amazing.
It was, or maybe you tell your friend at work, but you're not telling, you have a bad experience with something and it's just really easy just to go on a rant. You know what I mean? Because you're pissed off.
Love to bitch. They love to bitch. And they get on social media and they one-star you and they're like, ah.
Yeah, man. So
the NFL has a big thing. It's called Protect the Shield. And that's, the NFL has gone, and I use it as an example because they've gone through a lot of tumultuous things with some of the decisions they've made, but a lot of times some of the decisions that their players have made. But it's the shield, and you have to, they've made some really good choices, and the NFL has made some really bad choices in how they protect the shield. But at the end of the day, it's still the most watched sport in America. They're still putting that brand out there, and they're starting to, and they have in the last several years, really kind of be like, oh, got an issue, going to take care of that. Oh, got an issue, going to take care of that. There may not be a whole lot of retrospective things happening unless there's, really hard evidence, but they're always, team brand is one thing. Put your logo out there. People can have their opinions on the logo, and some teams handle themselves differently, but for the most part, they're all pretty well protecting of their emblem, But the NFL itself, the boss of all 32 teams is like, what we're here to do? Protect this brand. We got something negative happening over here. We're going to apologize for it. We're going to deal with it.
And then we're going to do something positive.
Yes, and then we're going to go out and get in the communities and do NFL Play 60, which they did to get kids out and active, or their breast cancer awareness stuff they do in October for the games. And so I think that's, if you kind of look at how that's handled, and the NFL, just because it is the biggest sport in the country, you have to kind of handle it like they do. Your brand is the most important thing that's out there, and it may not be worth $11 right now.
Yep, exactly.
Someday that brand could be worth millions and millions of dollars. You don't want something that you took a day off of protecting your brand, that avenue to get to your next financial goal or your next, opportunity is gone because you tarnished the brand, and it's double the work, if not triple the work, to get that back to where it was before.
It takes a lot of time, and none of us know how much time we have. So
yeah, and you have to live that way too. You can have your goals, have your plans, have how your day is going to go.
Yeah.
But just know, if you don't max effort today.
Yeah, because once you put in all that effort to get where you are, what do you think comes after that? Do you think you can just ease off now? And
you don't take your foot off the gas.
No, you have to just keep the same consistency and the same. I mean, you can lose your passion for something, but like I said, being able to separate the whole business and the personal thing is you can lose your passion for it, but you also have a grip on your responsibilities.
Right.
So you got to be able to just pull through, you know what I'm saying?
And a lot of people who have that passion and that drive and that inner fire within them, if they get to a point where if their number one business model goal, whatever they're in business for, chances are along the way somewhere, if they're at a point where they're tired of it, they've probably laid some tracks and groundwork in other areas to say, you know what, if at one point I want to sell this piece of the puzzle off, I got these 12 things that, and this one's doing well, and you can kind of, if you have that in you, it's never just one thing. I think you're an example of that. It's never just, here I'm going straight forward, and this is my only goal.
Because I think we all get bored and we get a little stagnant.
Yeah.
So like if you already have interest in something else and you see like, something that you can fulfill there, go after it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get bored. Like how like you could do the podcast probably all the time, but you probably have other hobbies and stuff that you like to spend, you know what I mean? Because it just gives you a break. I probably get a lot of my good ideas while I'm sitting there cutting hair, or I'm in the studio, but then I have an idea for like clothes, or I have an idea for what the video should look like. So I'm like, oh shit, this is great. I'm so happy you said that shit over there. So I just writing this idea down, bouncing ideas off your friends too. Like for me is my favorite thing. You could just be having a conversation, a joke pops up, but something else just snaps into your head and you're just like, oh, you're an idiot. Thanks for saying that.
But yeah, I think you may have like the vision laid down, but sometimes little anecdotal things will happen throughout your day.
Yeah.
The friend with the joke, or you'll see something like, that's it. That's the fucking, trying to put a square together. That's the last top. That's the last piece on top of it.
It could be something, or it could just be something crazy. Like it could be someone that you met, you helped them out. They shared that story with somebody else. That person is the person who's letting you get this next little step of your life even.
Right.
Or someone you needed, like you've been looking for something and that person just knows them. Like it always falls together. You know what I'm saying? If your intentions are pure, and you're not just walking around being an asshole every day,
Yeah. The networking is so vital. And I think being a decent human being to everybody that you encounter in your life, and not going after people who you just, like you said, I'm talking to this person's on the podcast, or making this phone call, or I'm tagging this person in something because I'm trying to get through them to the next guy in line, or this guy's got an in on this, or I want... If you just genuinely approach somebody with, here's who I am, my visions, my life, and you have a positive interaction with that person's gonna be like, yeah, Skotty Benz, I heard his podcast, or I checked out his video, man. Have you seen this stuff? And dude, he's got this thing going on, he's got that thing going on. Oh man, I'm gonna go check out the clothing line. I'm gonna go jump on. All of a sudden, that person knows somebody. I mean, it's the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing. I mean, it really is. If somebody knows somebody who knows somebody who they encountered, on a vacation in Cancun, they're like, oh yeah, I ran into so-and-so, and now we're buddies on Facebook. And now, you can really start to build your empire because of the network that you build and how you treat people, how you interact with people. It's so vital. So vital.
It's crucial.
Skotty Benz, Chapin Turner, Chip.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate you having me.
No, really appreciate you coming on and all the adventures and letting people know that they're going to encounter something in their life that could hold them back from being a better person, or being a better entrepreneur, or being a better father. To know that you can get through anything. Sure. The word can't is thrown around a lot. I can't do that. I can't make this business idea work. I can't make that. I'm so nervous talking to people on the phone. I can't make. If you, like we talked about goals, you set those little itty bitty goals in front of you, and all of a sudden,
one after another, man.
Can'ts turn into, well, I can do that. I can. I can't figure it out. There's so many ways to learn how to do things. Keep on learning. I think you've shown a lot of people that you can go and do and be and hustle and have ideas, and it's okay to see those ideas and move forward with them, and that's it's inspiring stuff. And I thank you for the time and the inspiration for myself and my goals.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. Like I said, check me out online, Skotty Benz, all social platforms. And also, if you want to make an appointment, go to chipsbarbershop.com, or clothing, peoplesuckapparel.com.
Hell yeah, man. Fucking genius. I love it. Thank you for the time. Enjoy, the next steps. I know you got a lot of irons in the fire, man, and we wish you nothing but the best of luck. Let's get you back on sometime, man.
Hell yeah. Can't wait.